Flip to Freedom, episode number 31. Hey there, how's it going? This is Sean again, and we are on episode number 31. Now, if you're brand new listening for the very first time, I am here to help you escape the 9 to 5 and live the lifestyle of your dreams by learning how you can make an absolute fortune flipping properties in your spare time, even if you're brand new, you have no cash, you have no credit, and you've never bought a property before. Now, people ask me, what the heck is flipping properties and how does that work? Well, it's easy. All you do is market for motivated sellers, right? And a motivated seller could be someone who has been through a divorce, they've inherited a property, it could be a probate, it could be a landlord that has a property that's out of state. I mean, believe me, in this market, there are tons of motivated sellers. So you market for a motivated seller, right? And you get a property under contract. That means you sign a contract with that seller. Let's say theoretically the property's worth $100,000. We get under contract for $50,000, right? And then we turn around and market to cash buyers. Now we're going to talk to a cash buyer. Now, a cash buyer comes in. They're typically used to buying properties at the courthouse steps. They're buying bank-owned properties. So they can walk in, and they're either looking for a rental, or they're a house that they can buy, or they're looking for a property that they can fix and flip. So what's going to happen is that they're going to look at the property, and they're going to say, okay, I'm in. They're going to give you a non-refundable deposit, and then they're going to sign another contract with you for a higher price. Now, let's say in our example here, we have a contract with the seller for $50,000. Then you have a contract with a buyer for $60,000. Well, guess what? There's a $10,000 spread there. Well, we take those two contracts and we bring them to your closing agent, your escrow officer, attorney, whatever state you're in, whatever area, whatever you have for a closing agent, and then you instruct them to do what's called a double escrow or a simultaneous close. Now, what they will do is they will have the actual buyer wire in the funds, of which they're going to wire in $60,000. $10,000 is going to go to you, and $50,000 is going to go to the seller. And it takes no money out of your pocket, no cash. They're never going to pull your credit. You don't have to have any experience. All you got to do is understand how to market for motivated sellers and how to market for cash buyers. But you put those two together, and you can do it as many times as you want in a month. If you want to do it 10 times in a month, you can make $100,000 a month. If you want to do it 3 times in the month, 4 times in the month, whatever it is, the more marketing you do, the more deals that you'll get. And there's basically, the average is for every 25 leads you get, you'll get 1 deal. Now, if you do 1 deal, you're doing good. I mean, think about it. Our average deal is about $10,000. The national average is about $5,000 per deal. So think about it. If you do 1 deal, I mean, that's $60,000 a year that you can make by just doing 1 deal a month. You're doing good. If you do 2 deals a month, man, you're living large. If you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 deals a month, then guess what? You have flipped your way to freedom. And that's why I put this podcast together. I put the website together. And because I was in the same situation. I was in a terrible job I hated. I hated what I was doing. I didn't like, waking up. I hated Mondays. And think about it. Think about all your friends, family, relatives, coworkers, everybody you know. They're all, griping about work. And they're probably right now, happy that they have a job, but really not. Wake up early, go in rush hour traffic, go get to the office, deal with a mundane job and the pressures of work and the pressures of the boss, and then, you get a quick hour lunch break, if that, go back to work and just sitting there looking at the clock. Man, wish the day would go by. Then get back in the car, rush hour traffic, back home, just have a couple hours with the family, and then it's all over again. Then when the weekend hits, holy cow, man, we got to do all this stuff around the house, got the honey to-do list, man, it starts getting busy. I know. Well, I put this podcast together, and I put my website together, and all this great information to basically show you how to flip your way out of that. And flipping properties is just like I talked about, and allowing you the ability to get 1 year's of income in the bank. 1 year, you make $50,000 a year, get $50,000 of cash in the bank, and do it as fast as possible by flipping properties in your spare time around what you do, and then you will have the option to quit your job. You don't have to. You can get 2 years worth of income. It doesn't matter. But you can start where you are today, and then you can start building a business and learning the business through listening to this podcast and actually reading a book I wrote. I wrote a 129-page comprehensive blueprint on exactly how to quit your job in 19 weeks or less, and it's a detailed step-by-step guide. I hold nothing back. I've had people tell me that they spent over $1,000 on material and courses from other people that it's not even 1/10 of the information that. So if you want to get that, you can get that for free at flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com. You'll see a little video of me on the front page, and you'll see a place where you can enter your email. Just put your email in there, and I'll email you a link to where you can download this report for free. Now, in this episode, we are going to talk about what happens if you get a house under contract and you can't sell it. What happens then? Does the world all come to the end? No. Well, there are things you can do to potentially save the deal, and also you can get out of the contract. That's why we have contract clauses in there. And in my book, I give a bunch of contract clauses. We'll talk about a couple contract clauses in here that work best. But what's going to happen is that you can get out of the deal. Now, I can tell you this. And we back up and we start marketing for motivated sellers and doing all that stuff. I'm going to give you in this episode 2 specific steps that you can do to save the deal. In episodes number 22 through 26, I go through and I tell you the entire process from start to finish, from marketing for motivated sellers all the way to selling your property. In 26, I talk specifically about selling your property. In episode number 10, I tell you specifically about selling your property. So if you want to listen to that, that'll give you an entire idea of the entire process of how to do that. So now I'm also going to talk you how to back out of a deal with no risk. And also, too, we're going to talk about at the end of the episode how you can get confidence, or how you can how can you imagine if you could just plug in and download some confidence. Imagine you could just plug in and say, okay, I'm going on this appointment, I'm talking to a cash buyer, whatever. I need some confidence going in, or just confidence in life of what you do. And I know I struggled for that for a while when I was younger, and I can tell you there are definitely things you can do. And I'm going to give you specific steps that you can increase your confidence to give you better performance, in all aspects of life. All right, now let's get into this. I'm going to tell you a story real quick. First off, because part of real estate and part of this business, flipping properties, you will run in to deals that you can't sell. It's just going to happen. It's part of business. It's just the way it is. So just expect it. It doesn't happen on every deal, of course. If it did, we wouldn't be here. But it happens on 1 out of 10 deals. You're going to get a deal under contract. It's just not going to sell. Well, I got this property under contract here in Phoenix. I thought it was a great deal. 3-bed, 2-bath, right? It had a pool in back and needs some, probably 10, 15 grand in repairs for like a fix and flip job. It was an inherited property, and I got under contract for $53,000. We marketed it for $63,000 for a $10,000 profit. Now I thought the deal was a smoking deal. The property is worth probably in the 120. So me at $63,000, I was at the 52% range, man. I was thinking this thing would sell off the shelf. Now, it was right on a freeway. Literally, there's like a big freeway wall they call the I-17 here in Phoenix, and it was literally sitting right. There's an access road that was between it, but it was pretty close to the freeway. Now, I figured if I priced it in the mid to low 50% of LTV, loan to value, of what the value, ARV actually, of what the property was worth, then I thought they would be able to sell and be fine. Now, obviously I'm human, I make mistakes, things happen, but guess what? It didn't sell. I put it out to all of our cash buyers. I talked to our VIP buyers. Guys I know that are looking for properties right now, and they're just like, just can't do it because of the freeway was right there. I didn't know it would have that big of an impact on the price. I got isolated. Said, hey, listen, if 63 won't work, what will work? And I'd get offers down in the 30,000 range, which was ouch. So what's going to happen? It's part of the business. So we eventually, on that deal, had to back out. We went back and renegotiated with the seller, and just did not want to budge below the $53,000 level, and we actually had to back out using one of our contract clauses to get out of the deal. So what happens? What happens if you have a deal like that? Is there a way to save it? Well, there is. There is a way to save it, and I can go talk about the first one. Is first, reduce the price of your marketing. If you have it marketed, in our example, say for $63, you can put it out for $59. Take it down like $4,000 or so, and put it out to the market again. But before you put it out to the market, call your VIP buyers back and say, listen, I know you saw this property, it came out, I'm looking to sell it, I really need to get this thing moved, I need to get it moved quick. What can you do? I'm dropping the price to $59,000, but before I put it out to everybody and their brother, I wanted to give you first shot at it. So $59,000, can you make those numbers work? And you're going to get feedback from these people on what they think they can do on the property, or what their feedback is. When I did that with this particular property, boy, like I said, I got the feedback that the freeway was the biggest reason what their stumbling block was on the property, because they're like, listen, I can pay $10,000 more for a property around the corner, and there's no freeway sit. I don't have to fight with the freeway. So I was like, all right. So you can, before you actually reduce the price and you put out your marketing at a reduced price, you can call back your VIP buyers and tell them that, listen, you are reducing the price, and you offer it to them first so they have first dibs on it. And then after you do that, and if you get none of your VIP buyers, and your close-knit buyers that buy properties from you, if you get none of those to bite, then you send the email blast out with the price reduction, and then just do your normal marketing again. Put it on your Facebook fan page, Twitter out to everybody you know. Do your email blast, put it on post lists, put it on Craigslist back page at Kijiji, put bandit signs out, and get this sucker sold try to get the reduced price. And what happens is you might get a renewed interest. Some people that did not see the email prior might see the email now. Someone that might on Facebook might share it, and someone else's news feed through the news feed might see it. Happens all the time. So those are things you can do to potentially get it out. So you want to repost it. You want to get the bandit signs out. You want to do everything you can do to get more traffic to that property, eyeballs on that property at that reduced price, and put a reduced tag on it so they know it's reduced, and it almost gets people saying, okay, listen, you just reduced it, let me jump on it now. And if you look in the MLS, which is funny. Well, it's not really funny, but in the MLS, every time a property in the MLS is reduced, it actually sends an email alert out to all the people that are looking for that specific area. And the one technique for selling properties in the MLS, and I'm not really, I know that because my wife's a realtor, and one technique we use for some of our fix and flip properties is we reduce the property by $500, or reduce the property by $1,000, and what happens is it will send an email alert out to everybody and their brother. That's just a side note. So anyways, back to what I'm talking about here. So you've now what happens is when you're putting that out, you're looking to get an offer. You're looking to get something. Okay, what would you pay for? When you're talking to people, you're talking to your VIP buyers, you talk to people calling in, and you have someone that just says, they're calling and says, hey, what's the access on the property? You give them the lockbox code, they go look at the property, and they don't call you back. What do? Well, you call them back and say, listen, what'd you think of the property? And go, well, I just don't like it. It's right next to the freeway. I say, great. So listen, I got this tied up with a motivated seller. It was an inherited property. I might have some room to negotiate with the seller. What would you pay for it? Let me know what you pay for it to make your numbers work, and I'll see if I can potentially renegotiate. I'm not saying I can. I'm just saying maybe I can. So what you're doing is you're soliciting them to say, okay, well, let me look at it now and see if I can make the numbers work. And you're going to come back with different offers from people. The offers might be, in our case, they might be, $30,000, which obviously those numbers might not work. But you're also going to get numbers that will work. And what you do is now you say, okay, great. Now you get an offer, right, from one of your buyers that says they're going to do it, and have them submit a contract to you. right? And the contract is going to be subject to you getting marketable title to the property, able to sell the property via double escrow, but making sure that you have marketable title. That's one clause you put in the contract on your sell side contract with your buyer, is that contract subject to marketable title. So obviously you have to get marketable title before you could actually sell the property, and you'll do that via the double escrow. Okay, so now so you solicit a contract, you get an offer on the property. Let's say in our theoretical example, that particular property, we had it for $53,000, right? So let me say I solicit an offer, and I get an offer that comes in at $48,000. Well, what I can do then is go back and renegotiate with the seller. I can go back and say, listen, you know what, I just can't get it done. Obviously, the market's a mess right now when it comes to real estate. And between the funding sources and the partners I have and people I know, I just cannot get it done at 53. I'm going to have to cancel the contract unless we can get down to about $40,000, unless we can get down and start low. Give yourself about an $8,000 to $10,000 spread there. So think about it. If I get a contract of 48, I just need to get him down. If I can get him down to 40, I just made $8,000 just like that on a phone call. If I get him down to, let's say he says, there's no way I do 40, but I'm going to do 45. Well, if he does 45, well, guess what? You just locked in $3,000 profit for doing that. So it's just calling up the seller. It's tough to do, but think about it. I mean, you know what? In this market right now, there are banks that send out appraisers to properties, and appraisers come in 10 to 15 to 20 to sometimes $100,000 lower than the actual property is, on the market for, what the contract's for. And guess what? They have to renegotiate the deal. It's just part of real estate. It happens all the time. So don't feel bad if you have to go back and renegotiate with the seller. Actually, I can tell you that literally every time, even if we get the property sold, at 53 and we're happy, we will go back and renegotiate with a seller just to try to get some extra room in there for us if we can. Now let's say if we put it out for 53, my fault, $63,000, and I have some that comes in for 60, then I'll go back and try to renegotiate the seller down to possibly $50,000 to open up a little bit of spread there. Now you can do that. You don't have to do that if you want. Now, if someone inherited a property or something like that, I would. It just depends on the situation. Do it. You don't do it every time, but there is definitely a way to go back and renegotiate with the seller to open up some room. Sometimes they will, and sometimes they won't. But if you don't ask, you don't get. That's what my father-in-law has always told me. All right. So now, renegotiate with the seller. Now you have an offer with the buyer, now. So all you have to do is renegotiate at a lower number, lower than that, and you can make a spread. Now, even if you get properties under contract that you think might not work, now why would you do that? Well, I can tell you. Sometimes, we have our formula, and the formula is basically you take ARV, after repair value, times 70%, which is 0.70, equals, in this case, you have a $100,000 property times 70% is $70,000. Then you minus repairs. Let's say the repairs are $10,000, so that'd be $60,000. And that's what you could sell your price for in this market. ARV times 70% minus repairs equals your sell price. So if you have to negotiate to get anything below that, would be your buy price. So if you lock it up for $55,000, well, you get a $5,000 potential profit. If you lock it up for $50,000, you get a $10,000 profit. I always build in, at least, especially in this market. Phoenix is a little bit different. If you're in San Francisco, or you're in California, or if you're in New York, or places where the home values are a lot higher, well, the numbers will be a lot different, of course. But within Phoenix, when the average home price is like $123,000, well, $10,000, you're literally anywhere from 8 to 10% of what that property is worth that we build in for a profit margin. So that's how we figure out the formula to sell the property. Now, when you when you have this, type of formula, sometimes, like I said, it will work, and then sometimes it won't work. But what if the seller, right? What if the seller comes back and says, listen, that formula for $60,000 or $50,000, that's not going to work. Well, what you can do is say, listen, you know what? The numbers doesn't work for me. I'm not comfortable committing to a purchase contract anything higher than our $50,000 number that we just talked about. But I have some friends that are landlords, and they are looking for properties that they could buy to put tenants in. And they don't do the extensive fix-up like we would do, or some of my partners and I would do, but they do not as much fix-up. They do more of the lipstick stuff, and they want to rent it out. But it will allow them to pay a higher price. What we can do is that we can do a one-page option agreement. And this option agreement will allow me to market the property to my friends, right? Friends, people I know, they're landlords, they're looking for properties. And if they like it, then guess what? They'll be able to buy it cash. They'll buy it with no inspection period. They don't have to deal with appraisals or banks or anything like that. So, would you consider doing that? And when you're talking to the seller, there's a good chance that they will say, yeah, sure. Well, how long will it take? And I said, well, it'll take about 15 days. It's going to be a 15-day option. It'll be non-exclusive. I won't tie you up at all, but give you 15 days to talk to these guys and show a couple of my friends and see if we can get it sold for you. And I'll just take your price, and let's say your price is $60,000. That's as low as they'll go. I'll just tack on a couple $1,000s for my marketing cost and whatever it is, and see if I can get it sold from there. Now, most of the time they're going to say, okay, sure, why not? If you can turn around and get it sold, great. And marketing it, and they won't have to pay their commission. They'll get their $60,000, and they're literally out of nothing just by just a handful of days of you going out and marketing the property. It's a great way to be able to get the property under contract. Now, don't use that as a scapegoat. Okay, don't use a scapegoat. I know I'm talking to one of our other members that's in the Flip to Freedom Academy, and every single deal he's getting under contract is an option contract because it's a non-committal. Because I press to negotiate the best price I possibly can because I know I can get it sold. I know 60 is a little iffy. I want to know something that's going to work, so I'm pushing for the 50,000. And the last resort, the Columbo close we call it, is that say you're walking away and 50,000 doesn't work, and you turn around and go, oh, by the way, what if we did this? So I use that very loosely in the fact that it's the last resort to try to potentially save the deal if they're not willing at all to go to your actual offer price. Now, I went off on that little tangent, but it works, and it's a way to get a property under contract, put it out to market. Now, what also happens, which worked and works great, is that you get a property under contract, the motivation level of the seller increases, and then you can renegotiate the option agreement even further down. So let's say they're at 60 in our example, and I needed to be at 50, and I get an offer at 55, or I get an offer at 57,000. I can go back to them and say, listen, I just can't get it done here, but listen, I know I can get it done. I can close the thing. You can get cash next week if we can do it at $52,000 or $53,000, whatever it is, and you'll be able to instantly lock in a profit. But then you've built a relationship with that seller. Okay, that's just a little side note. Anyways, so when you are in the process of renegotiating with the seller, there's another way you can renegotiate with the seller too. Now, you can renegotiate by either reducing the price or having them offer seller financing. Let's say in our example, $53,000, negotiated down, and two things we do: negotiate price, try to negotiate as far down as we can, or say, listen, we can possibly get your $53,000 price, but we need to have you do a carryback on it for $50,000. and where you can carry the note. Now, in that example, there was no existing loan. There was just a he just owned the property free and clear. So, in that example, there we could negotiate and say, hey, listen, keep the note in $50,000. We'll create a note, and the note will be for 3 years. You'll get interest payments on that every single month, and then $3,000 we'll put for a down payment, and then you get a little bit of cash now. You don't have to deal with any tax issues or anything like that. Right now, because you're sold on an installment sale. But what you can do is you get a little bit of cash now, and you can get monthly payments every single month. Would you consider that? Now, they can negotiate off that. They might say, give me $10,000, give me $5,000, give me $3,000. The lower the down payment, the better, because it's easier to market and it's easier to sell. So those are a couple different ways you can negotiate with the seller to potentially make the deal sellable by either reducing the price or building in seller financing. Now, if they have a loan in place, let's say in our example $53,000, they had a $40,000 loan in place, I would negotiate to purchase the property either subject to the existing loan or do an agreement for sale of which the loan does not get paid off until the underlying note is completely paid off. I mean, the property doesn't transfer until the underlying note gets paid off. So that's what an agreement for sale is. A subject to is actually when the title transfers. An agreement for sale is when the title does not transfer, but until the underlying loan is paid off. We use those all the time. It's a great way to buy properties. Now, in this next section, I want to talk about building confidence. Now, first off, why confidence? Why do we want to talk about confidence? Well, first off, there's a lot of people that I've met or know that they're just not confident about what they do. They're very unsure, especially, since I've, launched this, the Flip to Freedom Academy and talking to people all across the country, and I understand people are new, into the business, and that breeds a doubt factor there because they're new, very new to something. So when you're new to something, you get that, unsure feeling, when you're first starting. But when you're dealing with people, right, and you're dealing with sellers and you're dealing with buyers and stuff, there is a certain confidence. Now, what would show a lack of confidence? Now, there's verbal, and then there's just regular, nonverbal would be your just body language. Now, I remember I met with a motivated seller last week, and when I met with the guy would not look me in the eyes. I mean, he would just not. He would just come up. He'd put his head down. I'm sitting there going, dude, here, look at me, man. What's up? Let's talk. And he would not look me in the eyes for the life of it. I couldn't get it. So, that's one thing. A nonverbal would be something, look people in the eyes, look them directly in the eyes when you're talking to them. That is nonverbal. It shows confidence. The other thing, too, is shake hands. Shake hands and shake it tight. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, man, and one thing, if you shook a hand like a wimp, man, you get pounded. So, same thing, same guy. He wouldn't even look at me, and when I shook his hand, it felt like a limp fish. I was like, come on, dude. He's kind of all hunched over and stuff, and he was just completely, I'm not trying to bash the guy at all because, maybe he just, that wasn't important to him. I don't know. But the bottom line is that his nonverbal communication was completely non-confident. Between his handshake, he talked all soft and, and all, mealy mouth, and I could barely hear him. I had to ask him to speak up, and he wouldn't look at me in the eyes. That right there is just complete nonverbal. I'm not confident. Now, if you walk in and you talk to a cash buyer like that, you're going to have problems. If you walk in and you talk to motivated sellers and you walk in with your head down, you don't look the guy in the eye, and you shake his hand, you don't shake his hand like all limp, it's all pasty and cold, and you talk under your breath. Well, listen, you will not get the contract. I don't care. You could take 100 leads on the phone. You won't get a contract. It's because it's nonverbal communication. With a confidence, you can walk in and talk and look him in the eye and shake his hand. So if you don't have that confidence, if you have that doubt, how can you get that confidence? What can you do to be able to, to be able to, I say, download that confidence, right? And basically, there's a couple different things. And I found a clip here. And if you ever watched the movie Boiler Room, now, if you've listened to my past episodes, you know that I love Wall Street, one of my favorite movies. And Wall Street, there's another movie that kind of went with it, was Boiler Room with Ben Affleck in it. Now, it's a little rough on the language, but it's a good movie, and it's just fun to watch because if you like sales and stuff like that, it's great. But I can tell you a story. When I was in the Marine Corps, when it came to confidence, and there's one big lesson that I've learned, and it was really just through what happened. It wasn't really someone teaching me; it's just what happened. But I was in boot camp, and I was at Parris Island, South Carolina, and I was 3rd Battalion, and 3rd Battalion was known to be like the toughest, the meanest, the guys that were grueling. And I was in there for, I don't know how many. It was like I was in for like 2 months or 3 months, whatever it was, for the training, and it was intense. I mean, there were drill instructors that were throwing people downstairs. We would wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We'd be doing push-ups, sweating. Guys would be screaming, dropping out. I remember this one huge guy. His name was Roman. And Roman, if you're listening, I apologize for telling the story. But this guy was huge, and he's from Miami. Big old guy from Miami. Huge guy, right? And he got so scared one time. I don't know if it was scared or just intimidated or whatever. And he just peed his pants right in the middle of the right in the middle of our bunks where we had it. The quarterdeck is what they called it. And we're all standing on line there. He just lost it, and the guy was a mess because there were drill instructors were yelling around, screaming, but I remember it was bad. But the thing is that we, in that boot camp, I remember, we started with like 100 people and we graduated with 40. And they weeded out 60% of the people that couldn't hang, or they dropped to another platoon because they couldn't hang, or they actually just got completely booted out of the out of the military because they couldn't hang in boot camp. So it was pretty intense, and I remember we went out, it was in the morning, we were going for about an 8-mile run, and the platoon leader he's like hurt his knee. He did something, nothing major, just hurt his knee. And he was kind of falling behind, so the platoon leader, the drill sergeant, grabbed the flag that he was holding and gave it to me and said, "Here, you want it?" And asked me if I wanted it. And I said no. I said no. Because I was unconfident. I didn't take the flag. I didn't take the opportunity to grab that flag and then lead the platoon and then run the show. Now, I don't know what that could have led to. And when I would say, opportunities are never lost. They just go to somebody else. And I get that from that experience right there. Because I was given the flag, and because I was unconfident, I was unsure of myself, I didn't think I could do it, I didn't think I had the talent, I didn't think I had the confidence, I guess, to run the platoon. So I was like, no, I basically waved it off. That was my first reaction. I just waved it off. I was like, I can't do it. So he took the flag, the drill sergeant, and he gave it to somebody else. And someone else led that platoon, and someone else went on. He got honors, and he did this, and it was great for him. But for me, it was a learning experience. So what I take from that, I took that, when opportunities come up, and you're put to the challenge, even if you are scared to death, even if you're shaking inside, even if you don't think you can do it, even if you don't believe you have the guts to do it, even if everyone tells you you're crazy and you can't do it, step up, take the flag and go make it happen, because you will grow into it. I'll tell you another story where the same example came up. I was at a training seminar, and I did public speaking and training all over the entire country for thousands of people on actually sales training. And I was at an event in Long Beach, California, and there was about 1,000 people at the convention center, Long Beach Convention Center. And I was there for this training. One of the people doing the training, one of the seminar leaders there, speakers, came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, we want you to speak." And I said, "Okay." They gave me a mic. They mic'd me up on the back. They pinned me up, right? Put my mic on. And I went in the bathroom, and I remember shaking. Public speaking is the second closest thing is being afraid of is death is the number one spot. So I was sitting there shaking. My hands were all sweaty. My mouth was all dry. I couldn't catch a breath. My heart was beating out of my chest. And I almost said, "You know what? I just can't do this. What the heck am I going to say? What if I screw up? What if I make a fool out of myself? What if I trip over my tongue? And I said all these different doubt thoughts, just like everybody has, went through my head, and I'm just like, what happens if I blow it? And then I looked in the mirror, and two things happened. One, I thought of the flag. You know what? I didn't grab the flag. I didn't do it, and I regretted it. And I could not get that moment or that experience back ever again. And I didn't know what, if I would have grabbed that flag, what it could have brought me to. I missed that opportunity. Second thing that came to my head is when in Wall Street, like I told you, I love that movie, Bud Fox looked in the mirror before he went in and met Gordon Gekko. And he said, "Life comes all down to a few moments, and this is one of them." And I looked at myself and I said, "You know what? Life comes all down to a few moments, and this is one of them." And I had a renewed energy, because I made a decision, a renewed vibrance. And I was I looked up, and I remember my eyes were glassed over, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to go rock the house. I'm going to go kick butt." And it changed my attitude before going in and speaking. And I'm telling you, I nailed it. I smoked it, killed it. I could tell. It was unbelievable. Standing ovation. It was unbelievable. And from that point on, I was actually hired as a trainer, and I trained all over the entire country, and I made between $2,500 to $5,000 a weekend, and I was flying. I was doing every single week, and it was nuts, and I had a blast doing it. It was fun. But to get back to the story, to get back to the point, is confidence. You'll be put to the test with challenges. Things will come up, and you're going to have a choice to either grab that flag, to grab the opportunity, or not. And most people tend not to grab the opportunity because they're thinking of, what if I can't make it work? Now, I'm going to share this little clip with you. It's from Ben Affleck in the movie Boiler Room, and he's going to give you kind of like the attitude, and he's going to talk about selling, closing the deal. It's real about two quick little segment, but why don't you listen to that right now?
There is no such thing as a no-sale call. A sale is made on every call you make. Either you sell the client some stock, or he sells you on a reason he can't. Either way, a sale is made. The only question is, who's going to close, you or him? And be relentless. That's it, I'm done.
Now, don't you like what he says at the end? I'm done. I'm done. He just closes it down right there. It's great. Be relentless. Be relentless. Now, when you're, this is not like a typical sales thing where you're actually, selling, but you are talking to motivated sellers, you are negotiating, and you are closing deals. Same with buyers. You're either buying or you're selling. You're either buying the fact that the price is too high, or you're selling the fact that there's a kick in property. It's sales. It's the way it is. Now, if you don't like selling, then, this is real estate. Real estate, you're negotiating to buy properties at the lowest price property, and you're selling your lowest price possible, and you're turning around and selling to cash buyers to the highest price possible. There are sell points in there. So, off of my tangent, but how do you become more confident? All right. There's a couple different things, first off, I like about Ben Affleck. And first off, his attitude, right? He has an attitude of authority. He has an attitude, and anybody can have that attitude. And the other thing is he's an actor, right? I mean, maybe that's not him in real life, but I'm sure he's a confident guy, and he walks smart, and he looks people in the eye, and he shakes their hand. But he's also an actor. He's acting that part. So what can we learn from that? Well, here are 3 steps to how to become more confident. Number 1, visualize yourself as if you were confident. Visualize yourself. See yourself in your mind's eye as if you were confident. What if you were confident? How would you act? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you shake someone's hand? How would you look them in the eye? How would you be if you were confident? And see yourself in how you'd feel, see yourself in how you'd act in your mind's eye as if you were confident. The next thing is talk to yourself. And I always go back to the movie Jerry Maguire. And in that movie, Jerry Maguire and Rod Tidwell were at the NFL drafts. And Rod Tidwell was pacing back and forth, and he was all nervous and stuff, and he didn't think he was good enough to be at the draft or whatever. And Jerry Maguire actually takes him and meets him in this little side store where they sold jerseys and stuff like that. And he was there, and he puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's standing behind him. He starts talking in his ear. You are the best wide receiver in the NFL. You catch more. You have more yards. You can jump higher, and you have hands of steel or whatever. And he's sitting there, he's talking him up. And Rod Tidwell's like, come on, keep going, keep filling me up. And see, the thing is, you don't need someone over your shoulder to tell you how great you are. You can do that to yourself. It's called self-talk. You can tell yourself how great you are. You can tell yourself, instead of saying, oh, I'm terrible, I'm not confident, I'm fat, I'm ugly, my life sucks, whatever. You can do the exact opposite and say, you know what? I'm great. You know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to the seller, and I'm going to be charismatic. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to make friends with him, and I'm going to negotiate the deal, and I'm going to get this deal. I'm going to walk out of this house with this deal. I know it. And then meeting with a cash buyer. So, you know what? I'm going to talk to this cash buyer on the phone. I'm going to tell him how great the property is. And I am going to get this deal, and I'm going to sell it right here on the spot. You can do that. Because guess what? That cash buyer doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. That seller doesn't know you. So you can be anybody you want to be walking in. You could be who knows? You can be whatever you want to be walking in. And the third part is this. Act as if you were confident. Right? First off, you're going to visualize as if you're confident, right? Now you're going to act as if you're confident. Be an actor just like Ben Affleck is in that movie in Boiler Room. Act as if you're confident. What would you do? How would you act? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you present yourself? Act as if you're confident. And if you do those things, it will instill a confidence in you. Not overnight. It's going to take work. But you can take that and you can apply that every day. And guess what? When you have an opportunity to go do something, think about it. Take the flag by the hand. Take it. Take that flag and walk with confidence and walk into the experience. And guess what? You don't believe you have the potential to make it happen, but you do. I know you do. We all have the potential to be great if we just give ourselves the opportunity to be so. Just have to give yourself the opportunity. See, you're given the opportunity through information, through reading this information, reading the book, and listening to, there's tons of information on real estate investing. There's people making millions of dollars in real estate right now. You are given the flag. You're given the opportunity. Now you can step into it and live to that potential and be and do whatever you want to be in this life. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Friends, family, relatives, coworkers think you're crazy, whatever. You know what? Do it like me. One thing I've learned in the Marine Corps, you tell me I can't do it, and I'm going to do it 10 times over, as hard as I can and as fast as I can, and I'm going to do it bigger and badder as much as I can. It's the way it is. Tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it over and over and over again. So, it's just, I don't know if it's personality or inbred in the Marine Corps, whatever it is, but the bottom line is that you have potential. You have all the potential in the world to go out and accomplish, and the knowledge to go out and accomplish anything you want. And there are some people that are listening to this, they're going to take it at far levels than I've ever taken. I mean, believe me, there's people, when it comes to real estate, are you kidding me? I'm a little, fly in the wall, I'm a little speck. There's people that look at Donald Trump, billions and billions of dollars in real estate. You can take it to whatever level you want to do. So, if you'd like to get my book at flip2freedom.com, you can. But I'm starting a weekly question. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd like you to go to the Flip2Freedom, flip2freedom.com, go to this post and answer the question, because I'd like to start getting your feedback on some of these different things. But the question is this: what's your confidence level between 1 and 10? 10 being highest, 1 being lowest. What is your confidence level? And why do you think it's at that point? So what is your confidence level between 1 and 10? And why do you think it's at that point? Now, if you want to go get my free book, you can go to flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com, enter your email address in there, and I will send you the link to the book. And also, if you really want to get a fast start to your first big check, listen to episodes number 22 through 26, and I know you'll love it. So until next week, I wish you ultimate success in your real estate investing career. Take care, and God bless.